You will need the tool seen here to complete this installation.
Secure it nice and tight. Then we can release this and give it just a little torque. Make sure it's nice and snug so it's not going to come off. I like to take a rod. We're going to tape the end so that we can run it down through to the bottom of the vehicle. If you're by yourself, this makes it so much nicer and easier so that you can get it from the front of the vehicle to the back of the vehicle. And we have a straight shot. We're going to look through, make sure it's not going to touch anything. From here, you have a straight shot. It's going to go straight down and it'll go to the underside of the vehicle where we're going to pick it up on the other end and we're going to make sure it's secured all the way around. I've pulled the wire all the way down. I'm done with this. I'm going to pull the wire so that I can secure it up underneath the vehicle. We want to ensure that the vehicle doesn't have any wire exposed near the muffler or any loose running parts that may turn underneath the vehicle. So on this vehicle, there are several places that you can ensure that the wiring is kept. You want to make sure it's kept snug the whole time that you're moving it on down the vehicle to ensure that it doesn't come and get hung on something as it's going down the road and it doesn't get pulled free. So there's brackets underneath here on the vehicle, so you want to make sure you're putting them behind the bracket, not in front of the bracket, so that they ensure that they stay away from any moving parts. These brackets are here, they're not going to go anywhere, so if it's the wires behind it, it'll keep it away from any moving parts. And the package comes with several zip ties, so you can go ahead and secure it as you move down the vehicle to make sure that you're not having anything come loose. And I just like to cut off the ends to make it look nice. Make sure when you get to the end of your run that you look up here so you can see where you want to run it through, so that you can ensure that if there's a place to run it up over the top so that there's nothing that it's going to interfere with. You never want to put it down here where the springs are or over here where any of the braking is or any moving parts, so that the wire doesn't get pulled and yanked on. You want to make sure that it's up above everything. So we're going to run it through the top here, up over the top of this. Keeps it all away from everything. Doing a little bit at a time to ensure that your line doesn't get kinked and that you don't have any bends in your line so that it can be pulled on too tightly. So now that we're across the top, it's going to come underneath here. You got to find your place that's away from any of the moving parts. Again, you have all these moving parts. You want to make sure you secure it. There's a bracket here that has a perfect hole to be able to secure it with a zip tie. Nice and snug. Nice and clean. You can look underneath the vehicle and you can't even tell that we've ran a line. You do not want a customer to come out and see that you ran a line and they can still see all the line hanging underneath the vehicle. And if you're doing it yourself, for your protection, it's always best to have it away from everything, and so it's nice and secure. So you're going to need to remove some of your pieces on this vehicle. You're going to need to remove this to get up underneath here so that this can be moved out of the way. Phillips first, see if it loosens it. They're tabs, so you can pull up on it nice and slow so that you have them, because you will need these to be able to put it back together. So if you loosen this first, it gave it enough play and you can lift up on it and it lets you release them. We're looking for to make sure that we have all our parts out of the way, make sure that there's release. Okay, we're going to unscrew this. Once you get it loosened, you can go ahead and take it out. You want to make sure that you hold on to it so you don't drop the bolts. Okay? Keep that with all your parts. Then take a Phillips screwdriver. There's a little screw here. Again, make sure you have a hold of it so you don't drop it. Alright, so now we got to do the other side. So you got to unscrew this side as well. You want to make sure you loosen everything to make sure that you can pull the piece out without cracking the plastic. Okay. Once you've got this loose, Then these two pieces come apart and it slides up. You want to make sure that there's no any pins or harnesses that are holding it down into place. So just lift up straight up. It comes off. There's little snaps that hold it into place. Pry piece. Get it up underneath. Pry up. And then you can see that they're just going to snap back in. We want to run this up into the back of the vehicle. So you're going to get underneath your vehicle and you're going to see all these rubber gaskets. And on this vehicle there's a big one. We're going to push it up through so that we can have our line. All right, this is the drain hole in the car. So we're going to use this as our access to be able to run our line from the battery to the connector so that it'll actually function. So we're going to push this up in and we're going to run our line up into the trunk of the car. We also have our tab that we pulled out of there. We're going to cut a little hole in it and we're going to run our line through it. Okay, so you just fold it in half. Made a nice clean hole. I'm just going to run this through this hole. And I'm just going to reach my hand in there and snug it back into the hole that it came out of. Push your line all the way over to the hole. Now we have our line. Pull this away from the wall, just enough, so that your line can be put up underneath here. Again, you want it to make a clean look so that you don't have anything showing. Okay, now we can cut this off. Get a clean cut. Discard all this, we don't need it. Strip your line a little bit. Make sure you get a good snug fit. Making sure you can pull on both ends and that it's not going to come apart, and secure it, okay? Now we're going to put all this in behind all of this, so it's out of sight, out of mind. And we have the two-sided tape to attach to the little box so that you can put it in there so that it doesn't move around and make any noise. Just need to attach it to the wall, down up underneath, as far into it as you can. Put your hand down in there and just stick it to the wall. So now we found our place where the wires have to be disconnected. They're plugged in right back here. And you push down on the little button and you slide it out. You can pull it out here. You can see that that's a match. We're going to hook our wires together. This plugs into this one. And it has the little tab to be able to put it back into the wall. Okay. There's a tab in there that holds it up against the wall. If for some reason you can't get it undone, just reach your hand in there, plug this one into it, so it'll also secure it, so it won't move around. Snaps into place. Make sure you hear it click. Okay. Ensure that your wire is all tucked in behind all of your tabs. All these tabs, the wiring needs to be completely behind it so that it's not going to interfere with anything that you hook up. So we're going to reach in here, we're going to secure it with a screw. Have one of our electric drills, our adapter so that it holds the screw into place. Secure it. We're going to just pull back the wall and attach it to the wall. You want to make sure it's on a good solid metal piece. And that's it. So that they'll line back up. You're going to put your hand in there and just tap it in. We're going to go all the way down. Tap, 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 tap. So this piece is going to run along the bottom here. You can. can capture it on the other side. You always want to try and make sure that it's behind everything that you can to make sure that it's not going to get caught on anything, get hung up on anything. You want to slowly pry the pieces apart. You know they have the tabs that are on the back side of it, so you want to just slowly pull it off away from the wall. Slowly pry it away from the wall. Again, you're going to have your tabs. See, this is where the screw went. You got your two tabs here. Just going to pull this off away from the wall. Nice and slow. So just like on the other side, you're going to need to take a screwdriver and you're going to pop the piece off of the wall, get behind it, and just pull it back so that it's off of the wall. This has the new placement that's going to stick inside the wall, and it'll hold it against the wall and mount it. Okay? So now that we have this apart, you can push down on the button, clip the two pieces apart. This one slides into this one. Make sure it clicks into place. Nothing like putting it all back together and you hadn't secured it. You have this other piece. Pull it out. Secure it. Again, make sure that it clicks into place. And this one has the tab on it, so you put this one back on the wall. And then you run your line. Again, you want to make sure all your pieces are behind all of your tabs. Make sure they're in behind all of your tabs so that nothing gets pinched when you're putting your pieces back together, that none of your wires are in the way of where you're going to put tabbies back into place so that it doesn't pinch your lines. And you just slowly work your way back into place, ensuring that everything is back snug the way it was. So you're going to come back across. This little tab needs to be up inside of here. Make sure you pull it over. Again, just tapping it nice and slow all the way down. You'll hear your little tabs go back into the place. Okay? And here you see where my wire is in the way. So you want to make sure that it's moved over, because I'm fixing to put that piece back on and it's going to touch here and here, and you don't want to pinch your line. So you want to make sure it's off to the side. That's why we ran it down underneath here, so that it keeps it all snug, nice and snug. So when that piece comes back over it, it's solid. It's not going to be pulled back and in the way. So this piece just goes back on, ensuring that everything goes back into place really smooth. See all your tabs? This tab has to go into here. This tab has to go into here. Just slide it back in there. Once you have it where you know it's going to be, you're just going to take a gentle tap, 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 and you can hear it going back into place. So that's all secured now, nice and smooth. All right, because the rest of it's going to be on the outside of the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and re-secure this piece. Make sure everything's put back nice and neat. We took a screw out and two push pins, so we're going to reinstall those. So you put your two tabbies in, makes it nice and snug. Put our screw back in. Alright, now that's done. We're going to put the screw back in here. It has two sides to it. There's a piece that has to be mounted and it has to go inside that hole. Make sure you have it in place correctly. And then just tighten it with your ratchet just to make sure that it's in there at its right tightness. Okay, put your screws back in. Nice clean job. Alright, do the other side. Again, making sure that your piece is sitting in there the way it's supposed to. Making sure your parts go back together. Make sure it slides in there tight. Okay, and then just snug it down real quick. Okay, and then put this one in. And then we're going to back the vehicle back up so that we can work on the underside and secure those other two and mount the bracket. I'm going to put this fuse in here. It comes with a 15 amp fuse. You're going to insert it into the, make sure it's in there secured, nice and snug. Put your lid on it. Okay, now we're gonna go to the back. Gonna hook up to the ground. Got a left signal, right signal. We're gonna turn the running lights on. So we got running lights, and so we're good. We're gonna go ahead and finish installing, secure the rubber gasket, and install our bracket to hold our wiring. So we have our rubber gasket that we ran our line through. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut a little notch out of this so that we can run it around the piece. We can get both our pieces and stick it back up in the hole. Make sure it's nice and snug. So now they're both in there nice and snug, can take a zip tie, can loosen our line because we're going to actually mount a bracket to attach this to. Gives it a nice clean look when they're finished. And just snug them down. They have self tightening. Once they're turned a couple times, they won't come off. This is going to come through here. So you got all this line that you want to secure somewhere. We can actually hide it behind this. Loosen the little bracket just enough so that we can run the line behind it. Gives it a cleaner look. Line through. It has a little notch on it on the top and on the bottom. So once you put it in there, it's nice and secure. It won't come out. You put your lid on. Nice clean finish. So now we're finished with our light install. You have a nice clean look. Your wires are all out of the way. Now you're ready to hook up to any U-Haul trailer. Thank you.
To learn more about the products seen in this video, or to schedule an installation by a U-Haul Hitch professional, visit us online today at uhaulhitches.com.